It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to jump on the gigantic, sharp, interactive board. We're going to go through Xerox's FY23. The numbers are in. Xerox, like all major players in our industry, understands one thing. People are printing less tomorrow than they ever did today, and they'll continue to do that until eventually the business model of selling people print equipment for businesses collapses on its face because no one's going to use them enough to support that business model. Folks, that's time's really already here. We're starting to see those struggles already. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the industrial print space does. It doesn't matter what the production print space does. Because when the business print gets to a point where you cannot monetize that profitably in the business format that we have today, well, those other deliverables won't matter. Because the OEMs and the players in the space won't be able to afford to play in a place that gave them 1 or 2% of their revenue and probably cost them money to play in the space to begin with. So, ladies and gentlemen, I put a slide together here to go with my presentation, and I'm talking about deliverables, and I'm saying deliverables must be defined by dollars, both revenue and profit. I'm telling this to Xerox and every player out there in the industry. I've been screaming about this for a long time. The time is now. The time is now to tell your boards, to tell your shareholders exactly what revenues and profits you're getting from the businesses outside of print. Whether you're Xerox or anybody else in the space, we can't have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go around and tell the investment community that you're transitioning, that you're on this journey to reinvent the organization, if you don't share with them the details along that journey. After a while, it's just going to sound like a bunch of buzzwords splattered on a website. And that's for all of the industry's actors. We've got to define what we're doing. When I think about Xerox, they have some great capabilities because they have the largest customer base in the world. Nobody else is delivering print equipment direct to the end user, supplying and servicing that equipment bigger than Xerox. That's just a fact. And because they're doing that, this customer base they have, they can provide other products and services. The question is, what will those products and services be? And more importantly, can they profitably deliver those alternative products? But when I think about Xerox, I think about AI services. Xerox talks a lot about this. I think about their augmented reality with Care AR. I think of their robotic process automation, machine learning, AI. What can Xerox deliver to those thousands of customers that they can monetize with profit around AI, around robotic process automation? And we know they're doing some of this stuff now. We know they're doing some things with augmented reality. But now's the time where they have to tell us the revenue and the profit from those things they're doing. Because, ladies and gentlemen, business print is done. Business print is done the way we all knew it just a decade ago. We're going to have one more chance to overspec and oversell an A3. That's it, one more chance. And those of you who are doing it, good luck, congratulations. But at the end of the day, when those leases start to renew 3 and 5 years from now, your end users are not going to allow you to do it anymore. And you have to be really naive to believe that you're going to continue in that business model past 3 years. The marketplace is changing. The OEMs are getting a little bit smarter. The OEMs are going to start bringing different equipment to the marketplace. Equipment that doesn't need parts. Not near as many. I believe we'll start seeing some ink-based equipment as well. That really changed things up. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the world of business print as we knew it is changing drastically, whether the industry wants it to or not. The end users are printing less, and when businesses print less, these organizations can't afford to do what they're doing with production and light production and heavy production. It's so amazing to listen to the nonsense out in the media in our industry talking about production print. They don't tell you the whole story. The reason that we're seeing production print in low and even medium industrial space growing is because the volumes in that space have declined, so the customers don't need to spend $10 million for Heidelberg presses. But we're forgetting to tell you all that guess what? The volumes decline. That's why there's growth. It's displacement growth. But the volume's going to continue to decline. And eventually, that market will be determined to be oversaturated with OEMs. That market will start collapsing on itself, just like we're going to see the business print market. So the OEMs and the players in the space, they've got to do different things. You know, we hear Xerox talking about IT services. They have to. But how are they going to deliver those alternative products, get enough revenue, more importantly, get profit from it? The $1 million question. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Xerox's top line revenue for 2023, it was $6,890 million. You can see they're down from $7,011,110 million in 2022, and that's about a 3% decline. We could also see that they had that big stock buyback when they took out Carl Icahn of $500-something million. Total between dividends and stock buybacks of $709 million. Those days are over. I mean, folks, you know, Xerox can pay the dividend, but this is one of the things that I've been struggling with for a while now, believing that how can Xerox really get into the marketplace and reinvent and change and transition while they're staying on the stock market. It's going to be so hard because stockholders, they don't care. They just want to know what they're going to get this quarter. That's the way the stock market works. And when companies are, you know, mature in their deliverable and they're doing what they're doing, in the heyday of Xerox, for instance, the shareholders loved it because every quarter you make your money, you get your dividends, everybody was excited. But we're trying to reinvent a company. We're trying to transition a company. The money that you're paying dividends and the money that you'd be paying to do stock backs, you need to be really paying to transition and reinvent the company. I don't think you can do both. I put this together because I wanted to go and look at a comparison between 2022 and 2023 by the buckets. And this is one thing that I just don't like this about Xerox. And I don't like it about the other OEMs either, but they got to get more details. I mean, they're calling it equipment. They have post-sales, and they have total revenue. And if you look at equipment sales through 2022 by the quarter one, it was $314 million. Quarter two is $366 million. Quarter three is $390 million. Quarter four is $554 million. Whoopee! I call it the hardware bubble because we're still going to get equipment in. It's been on a lot of pent-up demand from the COVID, all that crap. 2022 started seeing some folks going out there and jamming the marketplace with equipment. But we all have to ask ourselves a question. What were we selling? Were we selling A3s? Were we overspecking and overselling? Is this our last chance to do it? Because I believe it is. When those contracts are renewed, it's not going to go that way. But when you look at 2023, we're at $391 million, $420 million, $386 million, $458 million. At the end of the day, the equipment bucket, if you will, was the only thing that grew for Xerox, and it grew by 2.5% over 2022's number. But when you look at the post-sales and the total revenue, it's obviously down. Post-sales are down 4%. But the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is that Xerox buckets all this stuff together. And it's really frustrating. I wanted to share this slide because this is kind of a slap in the face, not only to the whole industry, but it's an awakening that I don't think people pay attention to enough. So in 2018, Xerox top line revenue for the year was $9,662 million. And in the year 2023, the year they just ended, it's $6,886 million. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a 28% decline in total revenue, 2018 to 2023. That's a big decline, and that's our industry's decline. And I know a lot of y'all, oh no, we grew. I'm thinking about, some of these private equity groups. Whoa, we grew. No, you didn't grow. You bought a bunch of stuff, and everything you bought's declining. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, even Xerox has made some acquisitions in this time frame. I don't think there's any substantial, revenue number. And we know that they shed some businesses. And they're going to shed more. They're even projecting that in 2024 there'll be another decline in revenue. And I don't really care about a declining revenue. What I'm more concerned about on the chart that I have here on the gigantic Sharp interactive board is that in 2019 and prior to 2019, the prior years, Xerox was doing double-digit operating profit. In 2019, they had 13.1%, and we all know that 2020 was the year that the whole world went to hell, and we all know that 22 was a year that the whole world was kind of still in hell, and it didn't really start coming back until 2022. But look at this operating profit. We went from 13.1%. For this year, we're at 5.6. Last year, we were at 3.9. 2021 we were at 5.3, and I know that 2020 and 2021 had some challenges, but folks, we're producing a lot less operating profit. That is a big difference, and I know that Xerox has these aspirations to get back to double-digit operating profit, but what happened with the cost? Well, where's this cost increase coming from? In my opinion, you dropped your revenue, but your operating profit kind of went to hell with the drop in the revenue, which leads me to believe that realistically this was just a big old cost increase. And I know that you're making some adjustments now. We had the reduction in human capital that we're going to see in 2024. And by the way, I just want to say this one more time for the nut jobs out there that have been beating up Xerox about having this human capital adjustment. Think about the percentage of people that you let go in your company, okay? I mean, I love these companies with 50 employees talking about how terrible it is that Xerox laid off 15% of their employees. Well, do the math. Those friends of mine that have 50 employees. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a concern and we got to pay attention to it. I'm sure Xerox is. And I will say this, at least they're above the line in operating profit. And they stay above the line. Because we've seen some of our friends not do really well there. Matter of fact, I looked at Konica and Minolta's financials this morning. I'll do that episode on Monday. They're at 1% for 9 months. That company just can't make any money. And they're out there racing their car, acting like the world's just great. Those people just drive me crazy. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we need to fix this. Xerox aware of it. And I don't see them sponsoring race cars at this point, so controlling their cost is a good thing. Fiddle. We all know that Fiddle was the leasing business for Xerox. They're making some big changes there. The changes that they're making with Fiddle, they're going to be able to focus on more captive financing, but they believe that'll put about $1.5 billion in free cash flow by the year 2027. Those are all good things. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to look at the buckets. Xerox does break out a little bit of this revenue, but I want to show this slide and then plead with my friends at Xerox to please get more details to us. So they show they got $4,519 million in the revenue subject to multiple contracts, which represents 64% of Xerox's total revenue. There's $2,542 million, 36% of their revenue, what we call transactional revenue. If you look over here, transactional revenue is design, development, and sale of document management systems. Includes equipment portion of sales types of leases. So whatever the equipment portion is, that gets transferred. That's considered transactional revenue. And of course, there's supplies and paper. But when you look down here at revenue subject to multiple year contracts, contractual print and digital services, Xerox, you cannot include managed IT services in your print business services. You can't do it. You got to separate it out. You got to take every one of your deliverables that has nothing to do with print and put it on its own P&L with its own leadership team, with its own focus. Because if you mix it all up, your people are going to go where they're comfortable. And unless you're bringing in a whole lot of new people, they're going to go where they're comfortable, and where they're comfortable is selling a bunch of print equipment, overspecking A3, and they're going to try to figure out how to put managed services in it. They're going to try to sell IT based on print. It's going to be a disaster. Just don't do it. Please, get this out of there. Anything that doesn't have to do with print needs to be in its own bucket, because that's the numbers you want to share with the investment community. When you talk about the decline in the print revenue and the print services revenue. And then you could say, hey, but we grew this by 30%, by 40%, by 50%, whatever those numbers are. And then you could contribute profitability to those numbers. That will excite the hell out of the investment community. Even if the numbers are small, if they see the potential, they see the growth, and they understand the potential of your myth, they're going to get all excited about it. But if you run around and do what Konica Minolta did, let's just jam all this IT and mix it all up together and hope it all works out. Well, it won't all work out, and you're going to find out the cost to deliver is going to kill you, and you're never going to get to the double-digit profit. I wanted to share this slide, and they're talking about the marketplace, and I just hate this. I just hate when people do this. I think it's just, who gives a crap? So they're saying North America and Western Europe, $682 billion, 2022 to 2025, CARG on service offerings. Who cares? It doesn't matter if it's $16 trillion. It matters what can Xerox deliver in the marketplace profitably. That's all that matters. I wish people would stop doing this. I mean, I guess it's something to reach for, but I think it makes it more delusional. It makes it more delusional. But you talk about it, you got the key trends, you got the what it means to them, and then Xerox offerings, and of course you got them all checked off. But ladies and gentlemen, cybersecurity and delivering cybersecurity through a print business, what does that really mean? What's the deliverable? Defined exactly. What's the revenue? What's the profit from the deliverable? Availability of affordable AI. What is the AI products you want to deliver in the market? Define those AI products. Here's what they look like. When you open the package of our AI products, this is what it is. This is what the revenue is. This is what the profit is. Ladies and gentlemen, unless the players in our industry are willing to do this, they'll never, ever going to succeed in their transition. I don't care if it's Xerox or anybody else. You can't just take this, and I realize you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but you got a $6-something billion print business, maybe $5 billion with some of the other stuff you're doing. But at the end of the day, trying to take that business and make it an IT business isn't going to work. You got to make an IT business. And then on top of that, you can sell this print stuff when you want. It doesn't work the other way around. Xerox full guidance for 2024. They have a decline of 3 to 5% in constant currency. And folks, they have to say they're going to decline. They're being realists. They know that the print's going to continue to decline. They know that they're going to offload some businesses. And folks, I'll make a prediction here today. I would not be surprised to see Xerox offload all of Europe. And I just want to put that on the record. It's not a big percentage of their revenue. They could still monetize it. They could do a deal like they kind of did in the ANZ a long time ago with Fujifilm. And maybe that's kind of what they're thinking. Hey, Fuji, you take all of Europe. We'll do a deal like we had once with the ANZ. This time we'll stay together and stay friends. And we'll focus on the United States. At the end of the day, there's going to be some elimination of marketplaces. Or at least the elimination of cost in marketplaces. And when you start eliminating cost in marketplaces, then that changes the way you're delivered in those spaces. So ladies and gentlemen, I just want to show this slide again, and I urge Xerox to tell the world, what are we doing in IT services and how are we going to make money to replace our business print? Because it's all about business print. It's about understanding how to make money on the decline of business print. What's the model to make money on the decline of business print? This production stuff up here, at the end of the day, it's not the future. It's not diversification. It's not going to save our industry. It's a displacement growth. There's way too many people in it. And there's a lot of immature people in it that don't know what the hell they're doing in it, that are bastardizing that marketplace. Xerox has been there from day one. They'll be there probably till it ends. If anybody can pull it off in that space, it will be them. But without the business print revenues, everything else starts to get pressure. So you better be able to offset it with augmented reality, with AI services, with robotic process automation. Xerox, I'm rooting for you, but at the end of the day, you got to start sharing with the world the realities of what you're doing outside of print. Because everybody watching me knows this. Status quo is the killer. of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.